Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Kamisha Whitaker-Moore, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, two out of the three, my son Cam,
What's up? What up?
and my big little brother Ron.
What's up? What's up?
Tonight, we're going to be talking about some little family things, family issues, different things like that. One more so, what is a black sheep? What does that mean of the family? Do you feel like you're in that category or not? And then, honestly, we'll try to put in a little bit of, how we feel about different things. Hope you enjoy. All right, everyone. Hello.
What's up? Hello.
All right, so we're missing Kaylin tonight. And we were just briefly talking about the black sheep of the family, or what does that mean, or the definition of. Now, of course, I have a new best friend. Name is Chat GPT, and I input to him, and he gives to me, and so we talk about different things. And so the definition of a black sheep in the family, in reference to family, it says a black sheep in the family is one who doesn't fit in, whether by choice or by circumstances. They're the outcast, the one who gets talked about in whispers at family gatherings or outright excluded from certain conversations or events. Sometimes it's because they live differently. Maybe their life or beliefs or choices go against the family traditions or expectations. Other times it's because they were unfairly labeled, blamed, or treated differently for reasons beyond their control. So who's the black sheep of our family? Who do you think? And do you feel like you are a black sheep? And if so, how?
When we say family, are we talking about our
It doesn't matter.
this side or this side? Because it's different
Overall,
on different sides.
I totally understand that. Just overall. Now, on the other side of things, I always knew we were the black sheep of the family. I always felt that way. You didn't, but we did. We felt that way from jump. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if I were to have all my siblings here, other than you and Joe, I feel like they would all agree that we definitely felt that part as we were like outcasts within our group or our family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it does. And I know what you mean. Like, of the families, our immediate feeling like the black sheep of that, I completely get that. And I know what you mean, with different things. Even how beliefs went,
Yeah.
how we went to church and
For sure.
the dressing.
We were the only
different.
Kojic there.
Yeah.
Everybody else was something different,
Yeah, went to church all the time and stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, our family, like I mean, it's my siblings and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like we were the black sheep of the whole family. But as individuals, I don't feel like I was a black sheep on either side.
No, you probably were not. You were the number one, the baby of the group. And honestly, you were a junior. You was like daddy's little boy.
For sure.
And with that, Granny took you under her wing. She loved you. And like I said, she didn't love us any different.
Right.
But it became a time in our life to where honestly, I feel like we were the black sheep of the family as a group, for real, as a group. Now, as individuals, I still felt that way.
Yeah.
But you never did.
No, I feel like the golden child.
I got you.
Just probably because I was the youngest, and like you said, I was a junior, and then a lot of stuff. I was close. I was close to Granny, and I spent a lot of time with Granny too.
Right.
So we had those sit downs and those conversations, and with my other Granny, mother, I remember her. We would have these conversations, like in-depth conversations about. Don't you get them tattoos like the rest of them? You my grandson. I know you going to church and you ain't gonna let this influence you. You ain't gonna get them earrings pierced as your grandson. No, Granny, I'm
She
not.
was wrong.
Yeah, but
She was wrong.
I just felt like the golden child on both ends. You feel me?
I totally
was a
understand that.
baby.
What about you, Kim? Have you ever felt that way?
No, I don't think so.
Never felt like the black sheep of a family?
No, I just feel like I just fit in with everybody pretty
Yeah,
much.
you do. You kind of quiet and you really don't say too much. You kind of go with the flow. I think with me, like Kaylin said that she's the mean one. I felt like I was the mean one in my group, or maybe like the quiet one too, because I know that sometimes I spoke my mind, sometimes I just didn't say anything, and it was so easy for me not to feel connected to where it was easy for me to walk away.
Mm,
Where it may not have been easy for anybody else to walk away, but it was so easy for me to walk away.
yeah.
And honestly, I feel like our parents taught us so, I mean, to be cheerleaders for our family,
Right.
always cheer them on, never be jealous, never be like envious or anything like that. And so I felt like, and I knew that I was not because there was nothing that anybody wanted that had that I wanted.
Mm,
But I also knew that I was happy when you got what you wanted or when you had the bigger things. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And so I felt like sometimes when you become from a kid to an adult,
Mm,
you could be the tightest cousins ever in life when you grow up
mhm.
or a family member. And then all of a sudden, when you become a teenager, then life is life and then you find your own little spot in the world. And then it's kind of easy to forget, out of sight, out of mind.
And me, um, I like to feel like, or I like to express that, like, from the trailer side, there was like this love that I
Mm-hmm.
just felt, this love, and from the Whitaker side, I felt love too. It was a lot of love,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, Whitakers were more business minded
Oh, for sure.
and love. And like this, the trailer side, we were I mean, we were full of love and
Mm-hmm.
whatever else come with it. Not to
Yeah.
say if you was a Whitaker that you wasn't gonna come with it too,
Yeah.
but I feel like you were more logic. Your mind was more logical, and as a trailer, you could be more emotional because if my sister say jump, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
If you tell me to calm down, but you done already told me something, it ain't no off switch now.
Right.
So you feel me? Like for me, I felt like I was always that. Like okay, if something was going on with my family, right or wrong, I might correct you in private.
Mm-hmm.
But in public, I'm with you.
Right.
Even if you was wrong,
Right.
I'm with you. And we've had a lot of different situations that where I felt I was on the wrong end of that stick. And
Mm-hmm.
I almost knew I was going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so influenced by my Uncle Kenneth to where like I didn't like it didn't matter to me. It didn't matter.
Right.
If my family was in a predicament, if it was um, a area where even walking into negativity. I remember a couple of different events that we had, and I knew that this wasn't gonna come out well.
Right.
I can remember my mother telling me, she said, "You love your family love you," but she said that heart of yours, it's gonna get you killed one day if you don't straighten up.
Right.
And I was like, well, I guess maybe it will because at that time I was probably more emotionally minded
Right.
versus logical. So
Right.
I was just like, if I die behind my family, then I lived a good life. That was a young mind, a young
Mm-mm.
immature mind. But I can remember feeling that way.
I totally
Honestly.
understand that. No, not me, not at all. Now, with my immediate, for sure,
Hmm.
you know what I mean. But like with my cousins, and I love them. But I don't think I ever thought that way. I always thought that I knew that we were supposed to be close because this is what my mom instilled in us. And no lie, Granny instilled that in us as well, to be family, to love one another, not to be jealous or envious of each other. But even on the same hand, it's like we kind of grew apart
Yeah.
when we were growing up because everybody was on like one little playing field, one level of playing field because we were so naive to the fact of anything and
Mhm.
that we were all just cousins and just
Yeah.
hanging out and loving one another.
Yeah.
And then we started growing up and everybody started doing their own thing and going down their own path. So it's not hard to shut a light off.
Yeah.
It's not hard, especially if you're not that type of person that loves the attention or to be the center of attention. It's not hard to be on the outside looking in and being okay with that because I was. Have you ever noticed or seen like any indifference when it came to like us or you and your sisters or anybody like that with family members?
Um, I I mean, yeah, I'd kind of notice it. It
Yeah.
would just some things would be just short,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like and obviously, like if we walk into the room, everybody's like, oh, just chopping it up. But like once that initial like stops, then it's just like what
What are we
now?
doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we all get that look, or we all look at each other and like, it's probably time to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just been there like a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
I totally feel that because honestly, when you're with family, you're supposed to feel loved and welcome. And when you don't, you pick up on that. And even with people, and I'm not just saying family, but even with people that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, or even distant cousins and different things like that, when you get that initial like side eye or like whispers in the room, dude, I'm not coming to you too many times.
Right.
I'm about done, right? Because when I see that, I'm done because I know what's going on. And even if I don't know and I think it, and I could still be wrong, because we can definitely do that as well. And until you prove me wrong, I'm keeping my distance.
Right.
Because what you're not going to do is have me out here like, oh my God, being a cheerleader for you and you being a Debbie Downer for me.
Yeah.
And then you talking about me to people, you know what I'm saying, behind my back. And all I'm doing is like uplifting and praising the person that you are, the person that you've become, and all those things. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting the negative end of that, and for no reason, because you can't tell me why. No, I'm not doing that too many times. And so I'm not going to do it. Once I see it, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to still treat you nice, but there's nothing else for me there. I can't. In order for me to keep my sanity, I got to move around, because once I get mad, then honestly, there's no point. I joke with people at work all the time, but it's really not a joke. I'm Kim at work, but you make me mad, I'm Kamisha. And I will not be silent. He will not be good. And so I tell them all the time, I pray Kamisha down. I come to work with Kim every day because this is who I need to be. This is who I want to be. Please don't push me over that edge, because when Kamisha come out, it's just not going to be a good situation or a good thing, because I promise you I do. You know how jazzy I can be with my mouth, right? You know how jazzy I can be with my hands if it needs to be. And I try to live the Christian life and turn the other cheek. But I'm telling you how I don't know. But I definitely try to do that thing. I try to do that a lot. But sometimes when you show me who you are, I don't unsee it, because I used to.
Yeah.
I used to be like, they ain't talking about me, and you are. I'm not that naive little girl anymore. I'm just like, yeah, you talking about me, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to distance myself from you, because I'm going to give you this one.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
And I think I may be different in a certain aspect, because I could very well know that you're talking about me. But the thing about that is, once I know that you're talking about me, and you could be talking about me in a negative way, I'm still there. I just bring my attention to you, letting you know that I know you're talking about me. And there is a way for me to say, well, hey, how you doing, and all that, knowing that you bubbling it up on the inside, that you really want to say this and that you really want to say that, but I know you won't.
Right.
Because you're not crazy. And my father taught me that there is a right and a wrong way to talk to any and everybody.
This is true.
It's not exactly what you say.
It's how you say it.
It's how you say it. Because
Right.
I've told a number of people with a smile on my face, do you not know I will whoop your behind? They're like, is he playing? No, I'm not. I've learned to tell people exactly how I felt with a smile on my face, even if that meant I'm going to tear you up in a couple seconds.
Right. I totally get it. What about you, Kim? What do? You just smile and go on about your business.
To be honest, I just really laugh off the situations because honestly, if you're talking about me behind, obviously it's never that serious. But if you talking about me behind my back, then I got to be doing something right.
Right.
That's how I look at it, and I just
you.
And I like to play. I really do like to play dumb a lot of the time.
I think that's what get people, because honestly, I like to play dumb too. And the reason why I say I like to play dumb is because I act like I see you, right? I see you. I see all the things that you do, because I am very observant of everything that I'm around. If you let me stay around you for a couple of weeks, the max 30 days, I can pick up on everything that you do. the side eye, what you do, how you do it. I know when you're lying to me. I can do all of those things. And which is crazy because I pay attention to detail. And I tell people this all the time. I pay attention to detail. I pay attention to how your body language is. I pay attention to everything that you do. So if I know if you do this, and I know you do this when you lying because you done got caught in about 1,500 lies and you do the same thing every time, I pick up on it all. So I know I play dumb too. Yeah. I watch you. And I watch you lie. I watch you tell untruths, which is the same as a lie. It's a nice way. But I watch what you do and I know who you are. And when I see that, I just play stupid because I'm like, okay. Or I'll say, I know that people will talk about you behind your back. If they can't say anything to you to your face, I don't worry about it. Because then at that moment, that's a coward move. Yeah. People love to talk about people behind their back. People love to, they're like the thumb bullies. They love to text people or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to talking to me in my face and sitting down having a whole adult conversation, we can't.
Right.
We can't. So it's just crazy. So things like that, you just really have to kind of, just kind of look at, remember, whatever the case may be. But back to the black sheep, I'm telling you, I felt like we were definitely the black sheep of the family and honestly as a whole. Now, individually, you say no, and I totally get that. But again, if I brought my siblings on, it would be a totally different situation. I'm pretty sure Joe would be different too. You guys are like naturally bubbly, and we are too, to a certain extent. But fake recognizes fake, and I'm just like, I'm not even about that. Because when you hurt me to my core once, I'm not giving you another opportunity to do me that way. So I'll step back from you. Because honestly, this new thing with families and different things like that, I don't know what that is, and I don't like it. I like the old school things that we used to do. We grew up together. We slept in the same bed. We got up. We cooked breakfast or we ate breakfast, and then we did all the things. I remember times when we went to Tyler down to Aunt Joanne's, and we would spend like a couple weeks down there. We would go outside and we would work like slaves in her yard because it was so big. But at the end of that, she would take us to California Girls and buy us like outfits and different things like that. So that was like the highlight of our summer, but we were all equal and on the same playing ground because we were all young and we loved each other and we were super naive. But again, as you grow up, things change, people positions change, thoughts change. Everything changes. And so it's a sad thing, but yet and still, we're still family.
Right.
We can't trade you in.
Right.
We still love you, but sometimes we got to love you from a distance in order to keep our sanity and our peace of mind. And honestly, is there anything wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. And you learn people second nature, you watch them and stuff like that. Me, I don't feel like I watch situations, right? So I don't allow people to hurt me for the simple fact I try to expect the unexpected. I try to expect a liar to lie to you,
right?
A snake to bite you. So if I've saw these patterns and these characteristics from you, then that's all I expect from you.
Right. So before, but before that, and I totally agree with that because I tell people all the time, if you don't expect anything, you will never be disappointed. Right. So if someone does something they actually say that they're going to do, then you're like, oh my gosh, thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. But if you don't expect it and they tell you that they are, but you don't expect it, you're never disappointed. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. And you go about your business. But the thing about it is, like you said, I'm a little different. I don't see a liar. I don't see you lying to me or purposely trying to hurt me. I see the good in you until you do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you do this, that's when I start watching you. Yeah. That's when I'm like, okay, what are you doing over here? And that's when I notice little ticks and different things about you because at this moment, now I'm watching you because you've done this to me and I don't expect you to. So it took me a while to learn or to pick that up. Don't expect and you will never be disappointed because I always would expect someone to do exactly what they said they were going to do. I expected people to say or to give me what they say they're going to give me or treat me the way that they said they're going to treat me. But when they don't, that's when I start picking up things. And so, like I said, as I've gotten older, my mindset has totally changed, which is crazy. But that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, that's like evolving to your surroundings. That's like adapting to your surroundings. I tend to watch people from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Like my first day at work,
Mm-hmm.
I go in there quiet, and then I see everyone, and I just kind of do my own thing. I'm watching everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
For example, this one guy, I've been working with him for maybe a week or so. I said, I could tell, I know you lying.
Yeah.
He's like, how do you know I'm lying? I said, because every time you lie, your pitch goes up just a little bit. Every time. And this other guy, whenever he get ready to lie, he looks down and then he looks up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
So I said, you lying.
So
and
you
then from the jump, I just tend to watch people.
Yeah.
It's almost like second nature because it's like survival mode out here now because you don't know who to trust. You don't know what's the intention of people right now.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you know is true is God for me.
That's true.
And family,
so,
to a degree.
Question for both of y'all. Mm-hmm. When you say, we're in a mode of survival out here in this world, right? Being the black sheep of the family, not individually, but as a group, do you think that has taught you to be aware and to do those things because you are the black sheep of the family? As a group or as a whole? Let's just say as Marianne and Ronnie's kids, right?
Yeah.
Does it teach you to do that?
Yes. I'd say yes. Just the surroundings, how everything's going and being who you are.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
So Kim, you've never experienced being the black sheep of the family. You've seen it, but you've never had to experience that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
opinion.
Gotcha. So how do you feel like, everybody is out here in survival mode? So, but then you pay attention to people, to detail, and somebody hurts you the first time, you don't do, or you're just kind of done or with whatever. How do you know? How do you train your brain to just be like, you know what, you're not gonna do me like that, or I'm just gonna back away? How do you do that? Do you watch us, or is this just something that you do naturally?
Like both said, I usually watch from the jump, but also think about it as like really kind of letting my guard down with my family, and then realizing like if your own family can do something to you, then like what, like a person that you don't know, like of course that can possibly happen. So for me, that's pretty much what it is. But I always just watch from a distance, like everybody, and I play very, very slow a lot of the times. But usually, like within the first 2-3 minutes of meeting somebody, I will know like if I want to be around them or not. Pretty much, because it's just easy for me, and I like to be alone most of the time. But usually, like it's within the first 2-3 minutes, the way that they move, the way that they talk, the way they act, you really can pick up on a lot of things in the first couple of minutes for sure.
I totally get it. I think that, even with me being older, I did say that if you don't expect anything, that you will never be disappointed. But that's, to me, that's someone on the outside, not a relative or a cousin or anything like that, right? To me. But it has gotten to the point to where you have to be aware that even your relatives will do you in. For sure. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Actually, they'll do you in a little bit quicker than anybody else will.
And worse.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's like being that person or being the one that everybody kind of looks down on. Or whatever, but I do agree with what you said earlier. We were the only like Kojic kids in our family other than Treva, and that was us. You know what I'm saying? She was a part of us. And I felt like we were black sheeps because of that, because honestly, everybody was like either Baptist or didn't go to church or whatever the case may be. But we were like Kojic, and we went to church a lot. We wore dresses all the time, and we didn't do sports or whatever. So I feel like just because we were different in that aspect of things, we were outcasted as well. And then I feel like because we were our dad's kids, and our daddy wasn't bad at all. He was a great guy or man to me. He is. But I felt like there was another part of us being casted out too, being categorized as black sheep when it came to our family, to me.
Yeah.
And I could be in, like you said, you know, individually, you were not.
Individually, yeah, but as a whole, completely. Right.
So do you think that being black sheep of the family or watching different things or being like an outcast or an outsider, that when you move differently, do you feel like you grieve differently? You feel things differently?
Oh, definitely.
And if so, are we wrong in the way that we feel? So say for instance, you know, if something were to happen and I don't go visit because I'm just like I don't want to. You know, it's not that I love any less or whatever the case may be, but because I know how you make me feel and I'm not doing it. And so do you just kind of, do you feel guilty? Do you guilt yourself to make yourself to get up to go do or visit or whatever the case may be? I mean, do you do that?
No, I honestly, I I tend to try to think about the things I say
Mm-hmm.
and even my actions,
Mm-hmm.
so not to make it something bigger than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't tend to feel guilt a lot because I know exactly why I did it, when I did it,
Mm-hmm.
and why I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to I don't even justify my feelings. I'm gonna be like, well, if this happened and it made me feel that way, then that's the way I feel. If I'm wrong, then God help me.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally understand that. Kim, what about you? Have you ever been in that situation to where you felt some type of way and, you know, someone in your family may have like gotten hurt or in the hospital or whatever the case may be, and you don't go visit? And do you feel a certain way because you don't? Because, you know, you've been like outcasted or whatever the case may be? Or do you get yourself into going?
Um,
Or do you feel guilty about how you feel?
I wouldn't say I feel guilty about how I feel, but I do put myself in other people's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So say for instance, like one of my, family members on my dad's side goes to the hospital, gets hurt, and I know that he cares for them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But me, like I don't talk to him as much, or it's just something else. I feel like me being me, I would go to make sure that he sees me there, and maybe
Yeah.
that'll help him in the
Yeah.
grieving
feel-
process.
yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Moral
It makes
support.
sense.
So I don't know if that would be guilting myself into going, or just
Moral support.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely moral support, for sure. I think that even with me, I think that I don't guilt myself into going anywhere because me personally, I say that a lot. I feel as if I wanted to go, then I'm going to go.
Right.
But because of the way that I feel, and there's no hate or anything like that, I just feel like sometimes it's just best for me to sit down in a place of peace where I am, opposed to going and feeling some type of way when I get there. Because I don't need all that bad energy.
Right.
I don't need any of that. And I'm not saying that this is what will happen, but I just feel like, sometimes we have to do what we need to do to keep our sanity or our peace. And I feel like sometimes, the way I feel or the way that I felt in the situation, am I even wanted there? You know what I mean? So I just kind of I sit back and I don't second guess myself. I just do what I feel like I need to do and kind of be done with that, if that makes sense.
It
What
makes
about you?
sense. I feel like that does make sense because your feelings are valid too.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's feelings are valid. For me, I go because I want to go, or I go because of the moral support.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 people could be looking at me and none of them like me.
Right.
If I'm going there for you morally, that doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I'm not the baddest person in the world, and I know that there's always someone tougher, but my feelings are valid and my hands are too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, for real. That's just me.
Wait a minute. How you gonna be talking about Jesus and always want to fight in the next
I don't
breath?
always want to fight. And the fight that I'm talking about, it ain't always physical.
Oh, okay.
It ain't
I
always
just heard
physical.
hands. Hands
Yeah.
is something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in that aspect, I was talking about my hands being valid because
Okay.
they are. But yeah, every
I
fight
totally
I talk
understand
about
that.
sometimes is spiritual.
Right. I totally get
mean-
it. I feel like, me personally, I feel like, and I could be wrong. And when I say this, and correct me if I am. My immediate family is pretty much all that I need. And I will say that. Um, I do. I feel like, as far as we are concerned, we have dinner every other Sunday. We are pretty tight. We're dysfunctional, but yet and still functioning or functional. We agree to disagree, and we keep it moving. And we love each other unconditionally. And so, honestly, within my circle, I'm happy with. But sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be. There's been times, and I'm just gonna say, there's been times where our family is dysfunctional, right? We're at a dysfunction because there's one side over here, another side over here, and you know exactly what I'm talking about without going into detail. There's been so many times where I felt like I needed to reach out to my side of the family over here to see if there's a way that we can kind of mend different things or a different situation. And as soon as I think about it, I throw it out of my brain. Because I say to myself, I did not cause the Great Divide.
Right.
Why am I fixing the Great Divide?
Right.
But then I'm thinking we need to get our family back together because if we talk about family, if we talk about how we love each other as a family, do we let the small things affect who we are as a family and what we need to do? Because honestly, we got to come together at one point. And it seems like the only time we're coming together is at a funeral.
That's it.
Somebody is laying in a casket and then we're barely talking. We don't talk to one another. We go and everybody's on edge because they don't know what somebody else is going to do or to say. And I'm just like, is this the type of family we need? Is this the type of family energy we grew up with, or you know what I'm saying? So it's not confusing, but it's heartbreaking because you don't know, and you feel a certain way that you need to bring this back together again. But then, why? When you didn't do this,
Right.
So that's my conflict or that's my issue because I'm like, I didn't do it. So why am I trying to fix it? And soon as I say these things or I think it in my head, something else happens. And then I'm like, forget that.
Right.
I'm not doing it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. And I'll say this. I love my immediate family. I mean, I need them. I mean, we need each other.
Right.
There are other members in my family that we share this because we went through this together, or we went through this part together. But I'll say this as a whole, my family, a lot of things, or the basis of the story, say that you're my sister,
Right.
I'm your brother. No one could get in between us if we were to have a conflict. If it were to be me and you,
Right.
the only people who could fix it would be us.
Right.
There could be outsiders there can be people on the outside looking in. The best thing for them to do is to stay back and just be supporting of the family as a whole. Because as siblings, no one could, like if somebody try to mess with you, I'm going to be there. If somebody try to mess with me, I know you're going to be there because we're siblings, regardless of the other outsiders. Siblings have to get to their own understanding. No one can get between that. The only bond that's probably closer than siblings is a mother and a child.
Right.
That's the only other bond that's closer than a sibling. So if you have that dynamic of siblings, and then you have a mother and a child, and say you're the captain of over here, and then there's a captain over there, but these are still siblings. You don't take on the what is the word I'm trying to find? You don't take on everything that your lieutenant had. You don't take on all of that because as a whole, we're still one.
Right.
So you have to let these generals or these lieutenants, let them come to a common ground. They Granny and them used to have a little thing said, too many
chiefs, not
enough
Indians.
Indians.
Yeah.
There are too many chiefs into play when they should just be Indians and be supportive.
Right.
And if that support never comes and those chiefs never take off their head and become an Indian, there will always be a great divide.
I totally agree. And even with that great divide, or even with the way that things are, it's more so like, how do you even come to a decision to do this? Because it's been thrown out so many times that we need to fix, and no one's willing to fix. And when people are willing to fix, there's always something that comes, and that it's like that. Like, dog, really? This is, we want to fix this, but then here we go with these things.
Right.
And so then how do you even fix that without having animosity toward anybody? Because the thing about it is, you love your family and you know that you do, but yet and still, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, do you realize how much hurt you've caused over here on this side of town? But then it's just like, I don't even think that you do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you like, I don't even think that you care that you've caused all of this. Now we're here with issues and death in the family, and we can't even mourn like we need to or should, because there's so much hurt on the other side of that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
So whose responsibility is it to fix it? When every time there's a conversation about it, but then there's always something that happens that causes or stretches that great divide out even bigger.
Right.
So what do you do?
I'm going to give you an example, and no one, we knew about it. Other people knew about it, but other people, some even my immediate family, they never knew the depth of what this was. So we had a family member that you responded to a while ago that said, they're like one of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we all grew up together the same way. It took me a while to forgive her and the other sibling. It took me a while to forgive them. And no one understood. Everybody was like, you just got to let that go, let that go, let that go. But I couldn't let it go because it was so much hurt. And I'll go into it without going into deep detail of who it is. So me, I love my family. I'm with you right or wrong, whatever. But in this particular incident, I thought I was helping you. I thought that I was being there for you. But as the story went along, this family member set me up. And they tried to have these people to come rob me. And then this other one, they pulled a gun on me, the other one, and was about to shoot me if some else didn't pull up. But it took me years, because remember me saying, I don't care where I see you at. I told his mother, I don't care where I see you at. I don't care if I see you at church. If I see you at a police station, I'm going to get you whatever I see you at. If I see you at a funeral, I'm going to get you. It was so much hurt there because I always thought that I was close with you. Like, I got your back regardless. But for you to flip that on me, that caused a lot of pain. That caused a lot of hurt. And it took me years to get over that. But right before that happened, we got it straight.
Got you.
5-6 years later.
So brings me to a question. Can forgiveness be a path of healing, even if the person never changes?
If you want to get it off your chest, it has to be it has to be. If you want to be forgiven, if you want it off of, not your fault or to be forgiven for that, it has to start. It got to start there.
What do you think, Kim?
I don't think you can heal unless you forgive.
Right.
To be honest, because that's how I am. Like, no matter what the circumstance is, I'll always forgive. But obviously, I won't ever forget it. Yeah. I just feel like if you, basically what I said, if you forgive, if you can't forgive, then how are you going to heal from the situation?
Right.
Because you're just going to be mad at that person for however long till you forgive them.
It makes sense. I think that I think that when you grew up a certain way and you know that your family taught you to always put your family first, to always be connected with your family, and then you have a great divide. Sometimes you just don't know how to handle that. And then when things happen and you don't know what to do, and then everybody's expecting you to act out or be indifferent or act crazy, and you don't, because it's like, do I even care enough to do that? You know what I mean? I don't even have to do that. But yet and still, you still have that love for them. But You distance yourself from
Yeah.
them. So I hear this a lot, and Kim just said it. You can forgive, but you never forget. Is that even correct? Do you forgive and you don't forget? Is it because it teaches you how to treat them? Like, I can love you, but I can still, like, I don't have to deal with you, or I'm gonna feed you with a long handled spoon, as they always say. Is that the reason why we forgive and don't forget? Because I'm thinking we're supposed to forgive and forget.
No, for me, I mean, I can forgive you, but at the same time, like, there's no whatever it used to be.
Mm.
I don't think it'll ever be that because of,
Right.
you know,
I got you.
I can't forget it. And if I forget it, then I feel like I'm going to do the same thing over and it's
Right.
going to happen again.
Yeah, this is
So-
probably why women get in trouble a lot, or not in trouble, but because we continue to do the same things, because we forgive and we forget until it's like 101 times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get that.
That's for God.
Yeah, you hear me?
God forgives and He forgets.
Not us.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
understand that. I totally get it. So on a spiritual aspect of that, what does faith say about grieving someone who hurt or neglected you? Do we know? What does faith say? I don't know what faith says about it. It just says that we need to forgive and let it go, right?
Right. Forgive and let it go and let God take care of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I totally get it.
Don't
But you
repeat it.
know, one of the hardest things to do, for real, is to forgive sometimes people who really hurt you that knew better.
oh yeah, for sure.
That's one of the hardest things to do, is to forgive people who treated you a hot mess and they knew better. But they just didn't care, or they didn't think they were going to get caught.
Yeah.
I don't know. This just might be how I look at things. But honestly, I don't think, no matter who the person is, I don't think, well, for me at least, I don't think it's hard to forgive someone.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll never forget it, but I think this might go totally off script, but I think being like knowing yourself and like being at peace with just
Yeah.
being alone,
Mhm.
at least, like I said, in my opinion, because this is how I feel like on a daily basis. Like, if somebody was to do me wrong, I forgive them, only because like I know my worth and I know my
Yeah.
where my peace is, and it's with me. So just, you know, just forgive.
Absolutely,
And then
yeah.
it's like, obviously don't forget, but I feel like that's another reason it's hard for people to forgive, is because like they hang on to that person that they knew before.
I totally get it. I think for
Good
me,
one.
it's hard. I think for me, the reason why I say it's hard to forgive is because we are family.
Mm.
We grew up together.
Yeah.
We slept in the same bed. We got our butts toe up at the same time, in the same way. Everybody laid across the bed on them hands, and everybody got their butt toe up at the same time. You know what I'm saying? On them knees and getting your butt toe up. We did that. We knew life lessons. We knew what we were taught. We knew what our granny taught us, what our grandfather taught us, what our mom taught us, what our dad taught us. We knew this, but yet and still, we found it necessary to do something to hurt your family that you should never hurt.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that was a hard pill for me to swallow, honestly. And it made it to where you didn't, I'm not saying you didn't care anymore, but honestly, you just didn't care anymore. You were good with not having to deal with that. You were good with leaving people where they stood. You were good with not attending funerals, seeing people, or anything. I was good with that. And that's just me. And I'm not going to even lie and act like I wasn't. I was good with that. And so now, here we are again with another funeral that we have to attend, with another, still a great divide, but yet and still in my heart and in my mind, I am still hearing and feeling like we need to close that gap that I did not cause.
Yeah. I think the dynamic of that is that we all have to realize we don't, like you said, when life be lifing, we don't know what life caused this person to feel or what they're even going through. And sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't to the next person. But you realize that hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A hurt person will hurt you because they've been hurt. And that doesn't make it better. It doesn't.
It's so hard for me to just really think it's okay to hurt your
not okay.
blood like that, though.
It's not
That
okay.
is the hardest thing for me to understand in my brain. And I understand this is a pea-sized brain, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't. It bothers me. When I hurt people on accident, I have to apologize because I've done something that I didn't mean to do.
Right.
You meant to do it.
And that means when someone hurts you or you hurt someone and you have to apologize, go back to the way that we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
We were raised with the love of God instilled in us, even when people did us wrong or did some of our family members wrong. When not only our families, like even back from May,
Right.
great grandma May, she would tell us these stories of, because her parents was in slavery, how her dad and her mom was getting away, and they was finna kill her brother.
Yeah.
But then God made a way. They took them out of town and they got away. And these people were intending on hurting them, intending on killing them. But God always made a way. He always had a ram in the bush or a way to get out. So I bring that back to even my feelings, your feelings, when you've been instilled with the love of God. It's impossible for you, or almost impossible, for you to feel the same way that someone else feels that wasn't raised with the love of God, because that's the difference. The love of God is the difference.
Right. I totally understand that. And maybe this is why it is so heavy on my heart to close the great divide and to try to fix and mend what we've lost.
Yeah.
Even if it's salvageable.
Yeah, and now that you say that, I mean, I don't even know what the host, but I've been in there's say for instance from you and my dad, it's kind of the same thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And I just hear you talking about how you thinking about fixing it, but at the same time, like, is it really your job to fix it?
Yeah.
Because that's like, that would be, say for instance, that would be me trying to mend this person,
right?
And like, I don't think that's gonna go anywhere,
right?
You know.
But what I have realized though about our family, seriously, there's always alpha females and alpha males.
Yes, for sure.
So where the great divide is, there's at least 2 or 3. So if you get the 2 or 3 together, and then that 2 or 3 knocks it on down to the rest, and then you can fix it. But the thing about it is, they have to be willing to fix it.
Them Chiefs got to be willing to be Indians again.
This is true. And then, honestly, I don't even care who's wrong and who's right, because everybody knows who's wrong and who was right. But the thing about it is, it's just a matter of trying to fix what happened or whatever the case may be, because what you shouldn't be doing is feeling or debating if you're going to go to a funeral that you know you need to go to because you've been hurt by folks or by your family. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is a hard pill to swallow.
Definitely.
That's kind of crazy. You don't know, because every time you see each other, it's always at one of these situations. And then
that's what it was last time too.
And then everybody's just like, you see each other for a few minutes, and then it's like, okay, peace out. See y'all at the next one. And then everybody's going their separate ways, and nobody's talking, nobody's doing anything. I remember what happened, while we stopped talking, but we just got to fix it and call it done, and do what we need to do.
Because the past is the past.
It is, but it's still hurtful.
It's the past is still the past. It's hurtful, and it is hurtful. But like you said, you have to be willing to want to fix it, realizing that if you don't fix it, there are going to be generations of close people that will not even know each other.
This is true.
It's like the family will only get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Where it's just us, my mom and dad's kids, and then from us all the way down, and then on the other side all the way down. Yeah. So you're right. I totally understand that. I do. And honestly, we're at the end of our podcast on today. And honestly, we were just kind of sharing our feelings and different things like that. But we're at the end of our podcast, where we give a positive. And today we were talking about family, grieving, being the black sheep of the family, all the things. So let's start with you, Bo. What's the
Okay.
positive you want to give someone?
The positive that I want to give is that love conquers all.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes you need to trust the process and just let it work out. But love conquers all. If you really believe that love is love, you believe that it conquers all. And if you're willing, it could conquer.
Okay.
But if you're not, it won't.
Got you. What about you, Kim? Anything you would like to say? Well, you chewing
Um,
that gum over there, I tell you.
I'll just say, I'll just say, if you're willing to do to make change, then change can happen.
Yeah,
Pretty much what I gotta say.
I got you. My positive takeaway, because honestly, just sitting here, just rethinking a lot of things that were on my heart and my mind, just to do it, regardless of how I feel about a situation, regardless of what I said or whatever. It's time to fix it. And honestly, if your family's on the verge of just kind of losing out with family and you guys are at a great divide, someone needs to fix that. And regardless of whoever it is, somebody just needs to step up and just start talking and just honestly, even if they don't offer a forgiveness, just start fresh. It's a new day. And just get your family back and get everybody back to where they used to be. It will never be the way that it used to be, but honestly, you will be invited to barbecues and have good times and pool parties and all the things. And so, but if it's heavy on your heart and your mind, honestly, just do it. Don't ask questions. Don't debate it in your mind, your head that you shouldn't. Just do it. Just do it. Anybody else have anything they would like to say on today? No? So, all right. So, like we said in the beginning, my grandmother, she passed away today, my mom's mom. And just keep our family in your prayers. Honestly, we have a lot going on. My mom does as well. And so, honestly, she's our main focus. If we can all agree that no matter what's going on with our family, my mom in her sanity and how she's feeling and processing it is our main focus. And until the next one, guys. Peace.